Okie dokie. Welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I am Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Okay, so today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC Fight Night in Manila. Edgar versus Faber. And this fight turned out exactly how I thought it would. And yeah, this is the post-fight rundown of the main card. And I'm 5-1 on the main card on who I thought would win and my picks and everything. So I did pretty good on this one out of all 6 fights on the main card. Yeah, overall on the whole entire card with the prelims included, I was 8-4. So overall I got them right. Nolan Tickman on the Fight Pass prelims, he lost by split decision, so that could have gone either way. I think it should have been unanimous decision loss for Nolan. I don't know how the judges got it to split decision, but regardless, I was wrong on that one. So yeah, let's get started. The main event was a featherweight clash with Frankie Edgar versus Uriah Faber, California versus New Jersey, and I was rooting for California kid Uriah Faber. So all you Californians out there will be happy to know that. And New Jersey, I love you guys too. Okay, so yeah, I picked Frank Edgar to win this fight by unanimous decision. I knew he was going to just simply outpoint Uriah in stuff takedowns, and if he did get taken down by Uriah, he would be able to pop up, and if anything, he would take down Uriah a little bit here and there, and probably not a whole lot would happen with it, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And then in terms of striking, he was more aggressive, he was more technical with his strikes, he's picking his shots. Uriah came in flying and trying to go for big shots, looking for that one magical shot that it wasn't working out. But Uriah's pretty good at making those shots happen. He's still a good technical striker, and he's great all around. Yeah, they both are great wrestlers and great jiu-jitsu guys. I knew this would be a lot of cat and mouse running around. And it wasn't a bad fight. It had its moments. Yeah, and so Frankie Edgar wins 50-45 across the board, unanimous decision. And that sums up the fight. If you're going to sum it up, that sums up this fight, is Frank Edgar did all that. So, good job, Frankie Edgar. I'm a fan of both those fighters. Then on to the co-main event in the middleweight division. We had Gegard Mousasi versus Costa Philippou. I like both these guys. Costa is known for his boxing. He's trained with Ray Longo. Gegard Mousasi, Dutch kickboxing skills. And yeah, this one, I thought that Gegard would win by knockout in the first round, mix up his punches and kicks, and eventually find his rhythm and use his reach and height. And wow, I was shocked. Gegard, he worked his ground game, which we don't see him be the most dominant fighter on the ground, but it reminded us that he does have a ground game. He is a veteran in the sport. He's still pretty young still, only 29. And yeah, so he won 30-27 across the board, unanimous decision. He got the takedowns, dominant positions, ground and pound. He got him up against the cage, and it was just pretty much one-sided, and he outpointed him each round, and it was a good, clean win for Gegard Mousasi, so good job. Then on to another match in the main card. We had in another middleweight bout, we had Mark the Filipino Wrecking Machine Munoz versus Luke Barnott. Now, you know, this fight, I've met both of those guys. They're both really nice guys, and I felt bad if either one of them lost. And but I wanted to see Mark Munoz come out with a win on his final match in his whole MMA career, and he got that. He just devastated on the stand-up. He landed a lot of good right hands, and then boom, he went for takedowns, and he went for the takedowns at angles, and he was really aggressive, and he just was relentless, especially that first round. And then The second and third round, it was kind of like maybe Luke might have a shot here, but especially in the third round, Mark Munoz really closed up the match and dominated and got takedowns towards the end of round 3. So it was good, and yeah, here's me and Mark. I was really proud of him, and he's such a nice guy. I wish him the best. God bless him and his family. I hope he goes on to do a good job helping out his kid with wrestling, and just does a good job with the anti-bullying campaign. Continues to do good work with that, and really helps out the Filipino fighters. Being part Filipino, I'm proud of him and his accomplishments. And it's not always about winning a world title. Sometimes it's the impact you make on the sport and other people's lives. I was really sad to see him retire, but yeah, at least he gave it a shot, and that's something that you can ask for in life. If that's like one thing in life that we could all ask for is just a shot. Just he went to the UFC. He left with a winning record. He gave it his best, and yeah, there was a couple bad nights, but I mean, you look at, he lost to Chris Weidman, and he lost to Matt Hamill in his prime. There's no shame in losing to those guys, and even then, he was doing the best he could at that particular time to beat those guys. So you got to give the guy all the props in the world, and I'm really proud of him. And yeah, it's amazing to see him go out on top in the Philippines and with a win over a much younger opponent. And yeah, I hope he continues to do well. So thank you, Mark, for everything you've done, and God bless. Yeah, then also on the main card, we had a welterweight clash with Neil Magny and Hung-gu Lim. Now this one, I thought it would go. This one, yeah, I wasn't too shocked that it was the finish in round 2. Yeah, it was TKO punches, round 2 victory for Neil Magny, and I knew that Lim would put up a fight and he wouldn't just lay down and die. And this guy has a lot of heart, because when I saw him fight Tarek Saffiedine, man, that guy's legs were banged up and he kept going for it still. And I gotta respect that about him. Is he, as banged up as he was the main event of the very first UFC Fight Pass card. It was in Singapore, and he fought Tarek Saffiedine in the main event. He won all 5 rounds, and he just would not quit. Tarek Saffiedine just threw everything at him, and he would not quit. So I figured when he fought Neil Magny, he would do the same thing. He just wouldn't quit. But Neil Magny was a better technical fighter, and Neil Magny has a lot of heart, and he got in a bad spot in that first round, but persevered and soldiered on, and he survived that first round, and he looked good in moments of the first round, and then second round he got the finish, and that was yeah, a little knee deep in the second round. And yeah, Neil Magny, he has a lot of heart, and he's a good guy. Big fan of him, and he's learned how to use that reach. He's learned how to weather storms, and I think eventually over time he'll learn how to not be in those bad spots as much, and he's only going to get better, and he's constantly learning new things, and he's an amazing fighter, and he has reach and height advantage over a lot of his opponents at welterweight, so I think it's a good division for him. And yeah, so yeah, Neil Magny, there he is. Yeah, he's a good guy. Proud of him, his accomplishments. Yeah, anyways, good job, Neil Magny. That's his 7th win in a row in the UFC. So there you have it, round 2 TKO victory. Then also on the main card we have the featherweight clash with Philip Nover versus that's Yu Chi Nam. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Philip Nover. He has a lot of heart. This fight went split decision. This fight could have gone either way. I think Philip Nover did win this fight, though. The judges did get it right, and I'm proud to see Philip Nover back in the UFC after a long layoff. I believe it was UFC 109 was the last time we saw him in the octagon, and yeah, he was on Ultimate Fighter Season 8, I believe it was, with Team Mir and Team Nogueira as Frank Mir and Big Nog as the coaches. Yeah, and Philip Nover, he's a veteran of the sport, and I hope he continues to do well at featherweight. We'll see. I think lightweight would have been a better weight class for him to stick with, but we'll see how this whole featherweight thing goes. I hope he knows what he's doing. He's a veteran. He probably does. So, good job getting the split decision win. Philip Nover, he has good submission skills, and yeah, he uses wrestling in this fight. He got some good groundwork done on this fight. So, yeah, Philip Nover wins split decision on that one. Then to kick off the main card, we had another featherweight bout with Levon Makashvili versus Mark Adiva. Anyways, yeah, I wanted Mark to win this fight, but I knew that Levon would probably win this with his wrestling. And sure enough, he uses wrestling, and he got takedowns left and right at will, and he got a split decision victory. But there were some moments where Mark landed some good strikes and had, he fought on the ground still, and he wasn't just laying on the bottom. He was fighting to get dominant positions and trying his best, whether he got them or not. Yeah, so Levon wins at featherweight to kick off that main card in Manila by split decision. And yeah, this whole card was overall pretty good, and I was really impressed by John Tuck's performance on the prelims. Submission rear naked choke round 1. I think John Tuck's the guy to look out for in the lightweight division. I think we'll definitely be seeing several more fights of him in the UFC, but we'll see how he progresses. That's always the interesting thing to see with a lot of these fighters. So anyways, that wraps up the main card for post-fight recap of main card of UFC Edgar vs. Faber in Manila. And stay tuned for my next episode, which will be about UFC 187. And until then, see ya.